Welcome back to Bake 153. Today we're going to be reviewing module number 11, which is the payroll and the schedule part of this exercise. So as soon as you open the file again, you will notice this is the information file. And in the information file, you will notice that at the top we have the owner manager, who most likely will be you. And they're going to get a $50,000 a year salary. Because that's a salary, it doesn't change. So here that makes it $961.54 per week, which we will need a little bit later on. You also have all the names of your employees written down here on the left, what it is that they do, and how much they actually get paid for doing that. And that, of course, is by the hour. So all this information, some of it is already on the file that we need to use, and some of it we will have to transfer over a little bit later. So now let's go to the file we completed last week, and this is the production file. Here you will notice that I've filled in all the columns as well, so everything's great except these last two cells here. So the first one here, which is the number of hours or number of minutes that are being required to make everything, we need to sum that up for the whole week. And here you'll notice that once I hit the auto sum button, it doesn't go very far because there's a space here. So we're going to go to the corner. If we go to the side here, it's not going to help. We need to go to the corner, and then we can drag it along. And we're going to drag it all the way along to there. So now that is where we want to highlight, and we hit enter, and we automatically get that. We don't have to do the same for the hours. We can just come here, copy, go underneath, and hit the formula. So now we know exactly how many minutes we have and how many hours we have to work on for the whole week. So we now go to the schedule. And here's the schedule, and we have all the names of the employees and how much they are going to make. So we need to figure out. Now, to save a lot of time and effort, we're going to give everybody 40 hours. Because the best and the easiest thing to do is to give people 40 hours straight away as you're writing the schedule, and then when you input all the information and your budget information, then you can take it away, and you can do that very easily because you're working with Excel. And here you'll notice at the bottom, I wonder how much that's going to be. We do the auto sum, and the auto sum, enter, the answer is 280. That's how many hours. So let's go and look where we were in the production, and oh yes, look what happens here. Copy. You're going to put him right in there. Now, because we're taking it from a different tab, we need to use this one. This is called the link. So we hit the link. So now if you go back to the production chart and you change something, then this number will change as well. But as it stands right now, this is basically 270 hours, and we've budgeted 280 hours. So normally speaking, we should try and deduct 10 hours to make sure everything works. But why don't we just see what happens with the money first? So we go back to the forecast for this, and you'll see in the forecast we have total revenue, which is this. We're going to copy that, take it to the schedule. Total revenue goes in here, right click, and we're given all these options, and the one we want, of course, is the link, the last one. We go back into the forecast, and with that we then have the budgeted payroll. So we're going to copy that, take it to the schedule, and up here where it says labor cost allowance, again we are going to put the link. So always remember, when you're trying to take a number from a different tab, you need a link. If it is a totally different file, you cannot do it. So that's why it's very beneficial to have multiple tabs on the bottom, because we can link anything we want to from one tab to another tab. And this particular workbook can be as big as you could possibly imagine, so don't worry about that. So now that we have the labor cost allowance, the revenue doesn't really play a role here, but the labor cost allowance does. Very important to make sure that we stay below that. That is our budget. We should not go below it. So because all the names of the employees here are in order down here, we can come into the payroll and we can do this. Plus the $17.50 he gets paid. We're going to multiply that by the 40, hit enter, and that is how much money Paul is going to get for the week if he does 40 hours. But of course, if you change this to 35 hours, he will get less money. And that's going to be very important moving forward. So because it's Excel, we can now copy this, drag it below, right click and paste the formula. And now we have the total payroll here for the week for everyone. Now you'll notice there's no hours written on here. That is part of the scheduling that we're not so concerned about because we are right now working on money. So the fact is that everyone's going to do 40 hours a week. If they do more than 40 hours a week, or if they go into overtime, then that is on you, the manager, to make sure that doesn't happen. So we come down here, we want a sum, everything's highlighted, enter, beautiful. So now we have 4,260, which is over $1,000 less than the allocated budget. But the next file down says the manager's wage. So we have to go back to the information. Here's the manager's wage. And we're going to copy that, bring it to the schedule, and I'm going to have to put it in here. And when we put it in here, we do the link because it's coming from another tab. So now we need to figure out exactly what these two make. And of course, we have to do it on Excel. So we're going to do it this way. You'll notice again that the flat dotted line doesn't reach both the numbers you want to add. So you take it from the corner, raise it 1, and then hit enter. And there we have it. This is our total payroll, $5,221.54, which is less than your budgeted allowance. So great, you've done a fantastic job. So we now are going to go to the second part of today's exercise. This is the payroll deductions. Now, from the slides in the class today, you know that by law, you have to pay all these things. So even though it's not law in the United States, in Canada, it is a law that says you have to pay people 2 weeks vacation minimum. So 2 weeks vacation equals 4%. The Canada Pension Plan, this is not what the employee pays, this is what the employer has to pay. So that's 4.95% of whatever it is they make. The EI is 2.42%, extended healthcare is 0.98, and WSIB is 1.65. The key with all these is the fact they are not variable. They are always going to be there. They're like taxes. So whatever happens, whatever you do, you're going to have to put this in. So to make it very easy, we need to put the dollars for the weekly wages in here from the schedule. And we can just left click, drag, right click, copy, go to the payroll, come in here, right click, and hit the link. That is the easiest way of doing it. Now, I know what you're thinking. If we're going to take $700 and multiply it by 4%, surely we can just do this. Plus 700 times 4%. There you go. Now that is absolutely correct. You can do that. But of course, what does happen is now you cannot copy and paste that number. You have to physically write each number in. And if you want, you can spend the time and do that. But you're going to have to write every single one across here and every single one down here. The other way to do that is this, where you go plus 700 times 0.04. You see it's the same answer, but you'll see when I'm done how easy it's going to be. This is going to be plus 700 times 0.0495. This one is going to be plus the 700 times 0.0242. This one will be a little bit more complicated. It's going to be plus the 700 times 0.0098. And that's because, don't forget, these are all percentage means of 100. So these are all the premiums that you, the employer, has to pay on behalf of Paul to the government. And of course, now what's going to happen is we're going to click on this. We're going to then do the auto sum. And here you'll notice the auto sum, because we just want the benefits, we don't want the total of benefits and the wages, it's gone too far. So we need to come here and drag it back 1. And then we hit enter. Those are the total benefits. Of course, this one is going to be plus the $700 plus the $98. Now, the reason I said to do it this way is because now we can take all this, we can copy it, and then we can slide and do the whole thing, and we can paste the formula. And they are all done. They're all accurate. They're all going to work perfectly well. So now, this one down here, we need the auto sum. Ta-da! And there we have it. Our total payroll, including all the benefits, is $4,856.40. Yay, fantastic. But see, this one still highlighted, and that is because we're missing somebody. So we have to come over here, take this, copy it, take it to the next one, and we have to put that in there, the link. And this, if you want, you can write owner, manager, or me. So this number here, well, let's just see what the benefits are going to be. So you then take all these, you copy, and you take it down 1. Right click, and we paste the formulas. And that what's happened is you've now done all the benefits for yourself. You've totaled it up, and now your grand total is $5,952. So if we go back here, we'll see, oh, $5,383. You are not allowed to exceed the labor cost allowance. When you make a schedule or a forecast and you have a budget, unless the forecast is to do dramatically more revenue, then you can have more hours. But if you're going to have the same amount of revenue as your budget says, then you cannot exceed what the budgeted wages are going to be. So now, the task that you're going to be stuck with is trying to get this 5,952.55. You have to get that down to the 5,383. And the way to do that is to come in here and say, maybe we should give Christina only 30 hours instead of 40 hours. And then we see what happens, 5,775.85. So just by changing the hours, you can now very quickly lower everything rather than trying to figure it out. 5,522, still too high. So I'm not going to go any further because this is where you need to figure it out, how to get the payroll exactly where it needs to be. And that is it for this component. This is module number 11, and pretty soon there'll be module number 12 where we review the last 2 tabs. Thank you very much.